my vocal chain. First thing, I usually insert virtual channel. I like Brit 4K E, that's like SSL E series, or British N, that's Neve. And if it's like acoustic act, sometimes I use RC2, but usually British N and Brit 4K E is my favorite. I use this all the time, but I had to use it this occasion because microphone the artist used was 58, so for somehow I had to like upgrade the quality. And after that, I like to use SUS 2. They call this a resonance suppressor. I like to suppress my high end and all the low mid stuff. I love this plugin. For SUS, I like using FetFilter Q3, cut the low end, all the muddy area and harsh high end. Just like I like to use this as a subtractive EQ. After EQ, I like using a good old R compressor. I usually start with my preset DBX160X. After normal compressor, I like to insert multi-band compression. This plugin just explains it. Manny Triple D, like, you know, I'm compressing the boxy area and harshy area and all the S's. So this is something I started using. So after 2 stages of compression, now I start to add frequency. So using SSL, I like using Pultec, and after that, I like using Butch Vig vocal. I always like to add 0.5 to 1 dB presence and 0.5 to dB air. After those series of additive EQ, I like to use Oxford Inflator. Sometime I'll have the band split button on, but this is kind of like, it's like a saturation plugin, but it's a little bit more elegant than just a saturation plugin. Like after Inflator, another mix rack. I like using this as my parallel compression. I used to have a different auxiliary track and have a compressor there. Now, like modern plugins, they have a mix knob now. So now this is my parallel compression chain. Usually 25 to 30%. Nuke mode, smashing the shit out of the vocals, and like all the detectors is engaged, and it's adding second harmonics. And this is my most favorite de-esser. It's modeled after the DBX 520. And there's a brand called Lindell, and it used to be more than $100, and I was about to buy it, but Slate Digital came out with their own version, and this is my favorite. Yeah, I would stop inserting plugin after de-esser, but for this occasion, I have a H-comp on a sidechain mode, only because there's a section, a speech section during the song when the lead vocal is still singing. So when the speech is happening, it sidechains the lead vocal, and you usually set it to like the compress 4 to 6 dB. I lied. I said I don't put anything after de-esser normally, but like, usually I would have like trim or L1 or Avid Maxim functioning as a trim tool. I usually like to keep all the vocals set to 0 dB, so like, you know, instead of like grabbing the fader and turning it up, like I usually like to use a plugin. For reverb, I like using Verb Suite, BM7, Bricasti setting. Always do Abbey Road technique, EQ before the verb. This occasion I use H delay, but sometimes I like using Echo Boy. I think the feedback is a little bit more radical on H delay. I have 2 auxiliary tracks, 2 different settings of doubler. This is a Produce Like Pro Warren Hewart preset. Instead of boosting a lot of high end using EQ, I like to send it to Exciter to brighten up the vocals. This is my vocal chain, but I am constantly swapping things, changing plugin, changing the order. So like this is just a vocal chain that I use for this occasion. Unfortunately, I cannot do the before and after since the record is not out yet.